this is the story how I came up with something I can now call Trojan, right? This wasn't supposed to work this way. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It was supposed to be, like everyone I talked to said this was not the right thing to do, that you were crazy and just don't do it. But I figured, why not? What have I got to lose? So I went ahead with it anyway, and it's turned into something pretty amazing. And likewise, I'm only getting started, so there's a long way to go with this. But I want to bring you guys on the kind of like the roadmap of how this happened. Let me just bring you back to when I was much younger, right? One of the things I did was I was involved in selling metalworking lathes, right? Now these lathes, I brought them in from the UK and sold them in Ireland as a young fella, right? This 12-year-old, right? Selling these machines worth €1,000, £1,000. And I loved it a lot. But at the time, one of the ways people would have paid for those machines from me was they give me a check. So I'd work hard, I'd do the deal, and I'd be like, okay, it's 1,500 or 2,000 or 1,000, whatever it was, right? And I'd come to the stage where we'd agreed the price, everything was done, and then they just put their hand in their pocket and they go, you'll take a check. And every time that happened, I was like, oh, I'm not going to send you home and potentially lose the deal. Sometimes what people did was they'd have some cash and they give me the rest on check. I don't know, was that like an insurance policy? So if they didn't like the machine, they could cancel the check. For those of you that are too young to remember checks or using them, I'm not a great fan of checks, by the way. They are a piece of paper that basically says, hey bank, can you pay this person this much money and take it from my account? Now, in principle, that is brilliant. In reality, it means that me as the person receiving the check, first of all, I have to trust the person I'm getting it from. And second, the money doesn't arrive for 3 to 5 days, working days, right? And number 3, if they don't have enough money in their account or they spend more than the check amount, so their balance is actually lower than the check amount, the check will bounce and I'll be left with no money and no goods because I've given them the goods, right, in this case. But anyways, these people will come along and they give me this check and I never sent them away, right? Never sent them away. And for me, I never had a bad experience. The check always cleared and I always got the money, right? I would have preferred cash, but I always got the money, right? Now, in business lately, I think a lot of people, the trust side of things has completely disappeared, right? People just don't trust people anymore. But I actually believe that people are inherently trustworthy, the vast majority. And I'll explain a little more in the video of how that kind of shapes what I'm doing. But after I stopped selling those machines and until the present day, basically, I started the more traditional sales process. So I was like, here's a good, right? You pay me for it. So like on Amazon, someone pay me 20 quid or 30 quid, or on eBay or anywhere really, Shopify, they pay me and I get the money there and then and I'd make the little profit. There was no more IOUs. That had disappeared. And that worked fine, but it meant on the front end, as someone that was used to in-person sales, there was a lot of convincing. I had to convince people that everything I was saying about my product was true and that they had to feel they'd have a good experience and they'd have to pay for that product. And that's a lot of hard work, right? I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's a lot of hard work, especially when the market's kind of funny, like maybe it is today, where people just don't have as much money as they originally would have. Because when there's a lot of money about, easy come, easy go, people are inclined to spend it. Whereas when the money's a little bit more scarce, when they're thinking about other priorities, unless you have a really good sales page, really compelling brand story and product story, you mightn't get that sale, right? Unless you can work it to your advantage and make it so easy for the consumer, for the customer to say yes. We launched Apex. Apex is a mountain bike and apparel brand that myself, my business partner Alex, and another friend of ours, Dougie, set up about a year ago, right? And we took our time getting the product built just the way we wanted. We designed really good carton, really good product, really good accessories, everything to make it as good and as high quality as we possibly could, okay? And when we put it live, I thought it would just sell because I thought if we put it out to various audiences, people will see it and they'll just buy it, right? Now, I'm sure there was work to be done on our Shopify page. There was work to be done on our Amazon listing and the creative. That all wasn't exactly where I'd like it to be, and still isn't. We're actually investing heavily in that right now. But again, I expected quicker sales. And lo and behold, like, sales did come in here and there, and our price was extremely, like, oh man, so competitive. We had the product priced at about £49 when comparable products, even without the accessories, are more like 120 to 140 quid. But what we discovered was people didn't really feel the need to take the chance on our product. And I was trying to figure out, like, how can we change that? How can we change the whole thing in our favor? And around the same time, myself and my wife, we were actually looking at getting a new mattress. Very strange. And one of the companies that I came across online actually was a company called Emma Mattresses. Now, aside, we actually ended up not buying with Emma, and it's nothing to do with the offer, but we actually just found one that we liked here in town, right? But nonetheless, Emma Mattresses had this really amazing offer. And look, we were so close to going with it. And to be honest with you, we probably would have, only for we found the one in town. And the offer basically was this. It was that you could use the product for 200 nights, right? And even if on the 199th night you decided, you know what, this is not for me, you could send it back for a full refund. And basically what that done was it really took the risk away from the consumer and put it on the shoulder of the brand, of the seller. Kind of like I did when I was selling the lathes. I gave them the machine and I took the check, and the risk was on my shoulder because I could have been left with no money and no machine. Now, I thought of that, and I was sitting in bed and I just go to my wife, I figured it out. I know how to sell Apex, the goggles, right? And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, we do a really good offer, and we basically let people use them for free, and we'll sell them. And she's like, that's a crazy idea. And to be honest with you, if I were to be completely transparent, I actually thought it was a little bit crazy as well myself. But nonetheless, I figured I was onto something, right? But again, I wanted to be better than the Emma offer. And the Emma offer, remember, it was, or I didn't say this yet, but I will tell you now, it was you pay for the goggles, you pay for the mattress up front, and then if you decide to send it back, you can within 200 nights, and they'll give you a full refund. I wanted it to be a little bit better. So basically, the way I designed it in my head, and then I pitched it to Alex and I pitched it to Dougie, and they were both a bit skeptical, but they were like, yes, this could work. Once I started talking through it, was that you cover the shipping and handling, and we will ship the product out to you. You use it for 30 days. And if at any time in those 30 days you decide this is not for me, you can send it back, and that's it. We'll forget about it. We'll not charge your card. And thank you, basically, for giving our product a go, for using our product. But the reality is that I knew once people got our product into their hands, they would love it. And that is exactly what happened. Likewise, like, our conversions, our numbers, our profit per visitor, all that on the front end went through the roof. And I think what this is really about, it's about trust. It's about me as a seller trusting the customer, trusting the person, right? And that just doesn't happen, as I said, anymore. But I actually think it's a secret weapon. And for companies and brands that are selling products that are premium, that are good, like, if your product isn't good, this won't work, because obviously people will take the product, they'll realize what you were telling them was a pile of rubbish, and they'll send it back or whatever, and it will just be a complete failure. But if your product is actually everything you say it is, you should have no fear or qualm doing this, because I'll honestly tell you, from my experience and from the brands that we've implemented this in, and from similar case studies I have seen for people that have done this, and they are limited, this has worked tremendously well, because people, you just stand out from the noise. You are one of few brands that are like, my product is good, I want you to have this, and I know once you have it, you will realize that everything we've been telling you is the truth, and that you will have such a positive experience that the next logical step is for you to keep that product and become a customer of ours. That is what I feel is the secret here. I think that's something so cool. And it shouldn't have worked. If I had asked anyone in business, if I had asked even myself slightly, is this a good idea? I would have said, no, this is crazy. But It's not crazy. It's human psychology, the law of reciprocity. If someone does something good for you, you want to give back. And I've since discovered there's so many other benefits from doing this for your company and for your growth, which I will touch on later videos. But it's something I haven't been this passionate or excited about something in a long time in respect to work and, business and life and all this stuff, right? So I hope you feel inspired by this. If you have a physical product, a premium product, something that you know is good, and you'd be interested in maybe being part of our little beta program, down below you'll see a link to a page which gives you more information on the framework and on Trojan, is what I now call it, Trojan selling. Please check it out. Either way, you're going to hear a lot more about this in the coming weeks, months, and years on this YouTube channel and on all the different socials. Still figuring out how to get my message out there, really. There's just so many options, but I will figure it out. But either way, thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate this, and I really hope you get something of value out of this. Thank you.